Hello friends, my name is Bhashwadeep Shah, back again with here another video. Today is 14th of August 2016. It's 8 p.m. here in Kolkata. Today I want to share something with you. It's about my mother. April 2015, my mother, on her way to work, she had met with an accident. She used to work in SSKM hospital as the sister in charge, that is head of nursing. She was on her way for a morning duty when she met with a road accident. She actually fell inside the bus and hit the back of her head. She left in the morning at around 6:30. My father had received a call at around 8:15 in the morning. Somebody stated that my mother had met with an accident and we were to rush to the SSKM hospital as she was being admitted over there. So we did not get time to prepare or think rather about anything, and we had to rush. So I was actually getting ready to go to my college, but our destinations changed. My dad asked me to take out the car because he was a bit puzzled to drive. So I took out the car, and while on our way from my place to SSKM hospital, he was silent. My dad was silent the entire time, but I could not think actually that what could have happened and what has happened. So I started crying. So I could not help myself. So even we weren't getting any actual news about what had happened over there. So I called up some of my friends who stayed near to SSKM hospital. I asked them to go to SSKM hospital and find out what has actually happened. So it took us around half an hour to reach there. We went there to the emergency department. We could not find my mom. So my friend was standing there. He said that my mother's name is Shikha. So he searched about any RTA patients who had arrived by the name of Shikha, but nobody could inform anything. That was quite natural because the current state of government hospitals is like that. So we searched over there. It's a huge building. It's a huge hospital, and finding one single person is very difficult. So by the time we got to see my mom, she was on a wheelchair. Her head was bandaged and she was vomiting blood. That was the first thing I saw in that morning, because when my mom left the home, I was fast asleep. The thing turned out very messy because after that she was taken for a CT scan, and the CT scan report showed that she had multiple clots in her brain, and the brain had actually shifted from its actual position. This is actually what I got. This is the version which I got from my father, because my father is a doctor. He understood the terminologies used by the doctors, but I was standing there all perplexed. So I could understand that something was very wrong, but I could not get that what was wrong, what was the actual scenario. I could not get it. Soon some of my friends appeared there, and they were trying to calm me because I was very restless and I was crying the entire time. In the evening, then she was the funny part is that my mother worked at that time. She used to work in SSKM hospital itself, but she could not get a bed for her being admitted in the hospital. We waited for almost 2 hours. Then the hospital superintendent had arranged a bed for her and she was admitted. The routine proceedings had started by then. A few of my relatives and friends came over at the hospital. My father, I clearly remember, my father called me to a side and asked me that whether I have eaten anything. I said no, because we did not get any time. Neither my father could eat anything. So what happened was he asked me to go and have some food. But at that point of time, food wouldn't go down my throat. So I asked him that what has actually happened. So he started stating the entire thing. When my mom fell in that bus, her head had hit a rod. Now the thing is that she had developed multiple clots. She was to be admitted at that very moment and she was to be operated. But sadly, the OT was not empty. She could not be operated on that very day, and we had to wait for another 24 hours for the OT to be available. This is the actual scenario which happens to people who goes to government hospitals. So I could not think of anything. I could not do anything because neither I understood the terminologies used by the doctors. Whatever the doctors said, I used to nod, and then I used to consult my doctor friends or my dad. So the thing was that her brain had shifted from its original position. She had a midline shift, and in order to cure that problem, a portion of her skull was to be cut out and disposed of. So the thing was that she was admitted later in the evening in the ITU. I stayed there in the hospital. One of my friends, Ayan, who is currently in Singapore, he also stayed with me. And the entire night, me and Oyon, we were roaming around the city just to find blood and to get the blood reports by early next morning. So it was hectic. It was hectic for me, it was hectic for my friend, it was hectic for my entire family. The next day, at around 10 am on 11th April, she was admitted in BIN. It's another hospital because her operation could not be conducted in SSKM hospital, obviously. So she had to be transferred. We went there. She was put into the OT, and we stood there. The OT was around 3.5 hours, and when she was put back into the ICU, she was put under ventilation. The doctor said that all the clots have been removed, but as I told you, a portion of her skull, that is this much of her skull, was cut and disposed. And they had sewn the skin on top of the brain itself. And the doctor said that he would put my mum under observation for about 48 hours or so. So we had nothing to do, just to sit and observe and pray for her. So on Monday, that is, the accident happened on Friday. She was operated on Saturday. It was a craniectomy operation, and on Monday she was put out of ventilation. She was unable to recognize me. She was unable to recognize my dad. She was unable to recognize any of her relatives and friends and all. She only had the memory of her childhood. But we were unable to put something from her childhood in front of her at that point. So she was not being able to talk properly even. So she was there for about 13 days, and on 23rd of April 2015 she was discharged from the OT and we brought back home. So for about 5 months after that day, she had no memory whatsoever. She could not recognize me. She could not recognize her mom, that is my grandmother. My grandmother used to stay at our place since I was very young. She was unable to recognize her also, and yeah, so for 5 months she had absolutely no memory. Whatever she registered, whatever she saw or heard or whatever, that stayed in her brain for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that's it. After that, everything was flushed out of her system and she was again a new person. So the thing is that on every Friday we had to take her for her routine checkup, and the doctor asked us to wait for some time and observe what changes she was having and all. But frankly speaking, she did not have any change. She was given at least 10 to 15 medicines per day, and what she used to do is she used to drink the water, put the medicine in her mouth, and she used to puke the medicine. For 3 months after her operation, she could not swallow a single medicine. So the thing is that we were very puzzled. My dad was losing his calm. He was very sad. I was very sad. So about in the month of November or so, after the pujas, here we have Durga Pujas in October end. So after the pujas, she started recollecting some of her memories. So when she started recollecting her memories, during the time of her operation, her head was shaved. So when she started recollecting her memories, she saw that her head was shaved and she had very little hair on her head. So her prime focus was that why don't I have hair on my head? And the doctor told us strictly not to put her through any kind of stress or any kind of disturbing fact that would harm her. So this happened for the entire 2015, and in 2016, in March 2016, she was operated again. This time it was a cranioplasty operation. Cranioplasty is the operation. She had a deformity because her skull was cut and disposed, so that gap needed to be filled. So the doctor suggested that he was to fit in a titanium mesh inside her head rather, in the position of the actual skull, so that no further shock or sudden jerk should harm her. So in the month of March, on 15th of March, she was operated again, and this time around it was a successful operation, and she regained her consciousness within half an hour or so after the operation itself, and she was talking. It was good. So we were happy. Finally, me and my dad were relieved that things are going in the right direction after a very long time. So that's it. So now she's fit. She just now retired from her service in the month of June. So on her retirement day, me and my dad went there. Her colleagues organized a small get together on that day, and she was given some gifts, and everybody was saying that whatever she has been through in the past 1 year, all that thing was to be put behind and she needs to move on, and they were actually motivating her, and that was a good thing. She was motivated, but actually what happens, when in crisis, you get to know the people around you who are there with you in the moment of crisis. They are the actual people, they are the genuine people. My grandmother used to, as I told you, my maternal grandmother used to stay with us since I was very young. She left her in the month of January, and she went to her son's home. And the saddest thing is that the doctor asked us that she needed to be kept under constant observation. She was never to be kept alone at home, because she might do something, because that was a very traumatic experience. And I remember my mom used to say that I should have died on that day, because whatever's pain and agony I'm going through right now, it should have ended on that very day, when I met with an accident. So these things was very disturbing, and she was very disturbed and upset, and so the doctor asked that she was never to be kept alone. I went it's my mistake also. I went out with my friends on a ride. My dad went to his hospital. He's a doctor also. So my mom and my grandmother were there, and my maternal uncle came to our place, and my grandmother, what she did was she packed her bags and she left with them without informing me, without informing my dad, without even giving it a second thought that her daughter, in such a condition, she was alone at home, and I was supposed to return by 8 in the afternoon, and anything could have happened in that 3 to 4 hour span when she left, but she didn't think. She left. Nevertheless, she has survived. She is a survivor, and she will survive this. Even today also, today what happened is, today my mom, after her retirement, she doesn't go anywhere. She stays at home, she watches TV, and she does small little chores at home. But for how long can a person stay at home and do nothing? So today is a Sunday, and she asked me that can we go out, and I said yes, we should go out, and we went to city center too, just to do some casual shopping and all. We were there for 1 hour, And after 1 hour of shopping, she was feeling, she was having headaches. She could not stand, and we literally had to stop our shopping. And we went to the food court. We sat there. She calmed down, and then we left and got back home. So now what happens to her actually is that she she cries. She thinks that there's nobody in this world to support her, who would actually stand beside her in the moment of crisis. Because come on, her own mother had left her when she needed her the most. Through this video, I want to share this thing that, and I'm not here to spread out any negativity or anything like that, but I wanted to share this because this thing had been biting me for such a long time. I wanted to share it with you guys. So I hope that nothing of this sort happens with you or your near and dear ones. But the thing is that it's very sad that when the moment comes, when the crisis strikes you, you get to know people. You get to know the people around you who are actually who are actually your well-wisher, and who are there just in your good times, and who would rather leave you without a second thought when the difficulties strike you. I know she's a survivor and she will survive this. She will get ahead of all these thoughts, and I will make her get ahead and move on from all these bad thoughts. So just wanted to share this with you, nothing else. I'm very sorry if this was depressing. Let me know in the comments below that whether you like this video or not, because otherwise I won't share honestly with you. Obviously I will only share the fun stuffs. I won't share these harsh realities in my life. So that's it. Bye.